The United States marks its 250th anniversary this year, with major celebrations planned across the country. Its founding was also a milestone in the development of modern Western democracy. To learn more, we're taking you on a tour of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's considered the birthplace of the USA. Philadelphia is where the Declaration of Independence was signed, as well as the Constitution. We'll visit museums and historic sites that tell the story of the founding of the United States, a story shaped by powerful ideals like freedom, equality, and the belief in government by the people. But first, what did the US stand for 250 years ago?
Freedom.
Nothing good.
Liberty.
Being who you want to be.
Oppression.
Freedom.
Opportunity.
Slavery.
Greatness. Hope.
And what does the US stand for today?
Freedom.
Now we put that down.
Disappointment.
Oppression.
Oh, not much better.
Disaster.
Homophobia.
I'm trying to figure that out.
Let's start our tour of the Independence National Historical Park in the heart of Philadelphia's historic district. At the visitor center, you can buy tickets, book guided tours, and pick up a free city map. During this anniversary year, free guided tours through different Philadelphia neighborhoods are offered. First stop, the Declaration House or Graff House. Historian and tour guide Stephen Pierce is dressed as a continental soldier. Such soldiers fought the British in the 18th century when the American colonies were seeking independence from British rule.
This is the Graff House. This is a recreation of the 1775 house where Thomas Jefferson stayed.
Jefferson was one of the so-called founding fathers of the United States. It was here that he wrote the Declaration of Independence.
When Jefferson writes the original document up in that second floor, he actually writes the majority of it in 2 to 3 days. And with Jefferson also comes the great contradiction of America. A man who talks about life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, all men are created equal. But here in this house, on the third, not even the third floor, in the attic, is his own personal 14-year-old slave named Robert Hemings.
Just a few steps from the Graff House is the President's House site, where the first presidents in the United States lived and worked. George Washington, and after him, John Adams. It was the president's first official residence before the White House in Washington, D.C. was completed. Today, the site is an open-air memorial where you can explore the early history of the U.S. and the story of slavery in the house.
This house was actually one of the largest in Philadelphia of the time period. There was all these big events, the creation of the cabinet, all happened right here. But when they decided to dig this place up and create the outline of the house, they really wanted to highlight in 2010 the 9 enslaved that were under George Washington, and talking about the contradictions of the American founding.
Right behind the President's House site is the Liberty Bell Center, home to one of the most famous symbols of freedom in the US. If you don't want to wait in line, you can still see it from outside.
It was actually casted in London. It came over here in 1752. It was to celebrate the colony's tolerance of other religions, of other ideas, the creation of the government.
But the bell cracked the very first time it was rung and had to be recast, this time in the United States. The inscription reads, "Proclaim liberty throughout all the land." What was meant to be a bell for public gatherings eventually became an enduring symbol of freedom in the United States.
Today, it's lightly tapped every 4th of July with little hammers.
On July the 4th, 1776, the 13 British colonies in North America adopted the Declaration of Independence, declaring their independence from Great Britain. It happened here at Independence Hall.
This is known as the birthplace of America. This is where the Second Continental Congress meets and declares independence.
Here's a tip. Just a few steps from Independence Hall, the American Philosophical Society is a free stop where you can see different versions of the Declaration of Independence up close, including Jefferson's original draft. Finally, we'll visit Congress Hall, the building next to Independence Hall. In the 1790s, this was at the heart of US politics. It was here that Congress met and the foundations of the young democracy were laid. The Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments that protect fundamental freedoms, was also drafted here. The first floor was reserved for the Senate. Yet the democratic rights proclaimed in this building, such as freedom and the right to a fair trial, didn't apply to everyone. Black Americans and indigenous peoples were excluded from many of these rights, even though indigenous nations had inhabited and cared for these lands long before European colonization. A statue of Chief Tamanend, a respected leader of the Lenape.
They have been here for hundreds of thousands of years, and some of them are still kind of around today. Most of them are in Oklahoma. The Congress actually promises them to be the 14th state. It never happens.
This too is part of the complex history of the United States. Our tour of Philadelphia ends here. With all its contradictions and shortcomings, the story of the United States remains an ongoing struggle between ideals and reality.